Hi, everybody. Welcome to Speakers Sitting in Chairs, Chatting on Air. My name is Jeff Klein, and joining me today is Tim Gillette. How are you, Tim?
Hey, I'm good, Jeff. I'm getting to hang out in my office for a change.
Well, that's nice. You know, the home office. The home office. I can see you're not in a Starbucks office somewhere. Um,
Yeah,
I've
that's
got
it.
Panera, I've got Panera Bread offices.
Yeah, Starbucks office, hotel offices. Yeah, you get the idea when you're a speaker, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite? Not what's your favorite out of the house remote office?
Oh, actually, here in the Dallas area, I love that coffee house cafe. It's a getaway that I could go, and I look for those independent coffee shops when I'm on the road.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Panera Bread, and Cafe Brazil is a local chain. But I've been doing a lot more of that lately. Is looking for mom and pops.
Hmm.
I was having actually Robert Parkerson and I were going to have lunch, and I asked him if he knows about a mom and pop in his neighborhood, or in between us, that we can meet at to have lunch instead of a chain. And he's kind of new to the area, so I used Google. I used the web to find a little nice little place, Italian place,
Hmm.
and it was good. We
Where'd you
both
go?
had.
What Italian place? I'm curious.
You know what? I couldn't tell you the name of it off the top of my head, because
Uh,
it's on my calendar where I don't have to remember it. I can actually, and I'll look it up since we're talking about them. Uh,
Yeah, a
'Cause it,
calendar, those things that, what I mean, I'm supposed to look at like I was supposed to today. Yeah, I get it.
oh yeah. Well, I wasn't. I'm not bugging you about that.
Oh, no,
Uh,
you know me and calendars, man. Half the time, if I don't have someone double checking it for me, I messed up half the time too. You know what I mean? It's great to have assistance, isn't it?
yes, yes, and I have Jessica Tomberlin, who's my coordinator, who helps me with all that smart stuff. And then your Jessica has recently started helping me, Jessica
Yeah,
Gillette,
yeah, yeah,
um, and that's been very beneficial
yeah.
to have, because some are busy. Uh, the same person is busy, and then I've got a backup. So
Yeah.
I love that. And your Jessica helped by running the meeting, the Speaker Co-op Dallas meeting last week, because my Jessica and your Jessica, right? That's our shorthand. We know who
That's our
both.
shorthand for that. Yeah, yeah. But
But
they're two great Jessicas, that they are. They're
yeah,
both equal.
exactly. So Fino's Italian Bistro, Fino, Fino's Italian Bistro in Plano. It's on Midway, up near the George Bush 190 toll road.
Oh, okay.
It was good. A nice little mom and pop family-owned Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
So I'm doing more. I'm making more and more of an effort to do that for the remote office. I haven't found a good mom and pop that have the plugs and the reliable Wi-Fi, and without the dirty stairs to get out of the to make room for other people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's and trying to find them. When you travel as much as I do, and having to find them is tough. And I do like that convenience of, like, the chain places that we use, but the hospitality of the mom and pop shops, their food is better. Let's admit it. All right, they've got better iced tea, they've got better coffee. They're not a chain, but it's that consistency. My friend Mike O'Neill, he uses McDonald's. He still
yeah,
does. I don't
what
get it,
makes
but
you happy? There. It used to be that when I was meeting with Kathy Brandon during the summer, we had to meet at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A because they had a playground and
okay.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. And she's got kids, so yeah.
and all the
But
McDonald's now have Wi-Fi, and most of them have somewhere to plug in if you need it.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's getting to be part of our culture. And I mean, for you and I, traveling speakers, it's part of our world. You know what I mean? The idea of being out there on the road nowadays and not having someplace to plug in. I mean, we have
Yeah.
so much electronics we got to carry with us.
Well, they have those Dalek-looking things in the airport to plug in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Round pods there that you can plug in on, and if it's a busy day, everybody is, you walk up and all the plugs are taken. But I have a solution. I carry an extension cord with multiple outlets. So if somebody's hogging, if there's not a plug available, usually some nice person will let me unplug them and plug them into my extension cord so we can
Hmm.
share.
Well, I was reading an article this week about that, Jeff, and I never thought about it. In all my travels, as they said, carrying a strip, a power strip, you could become the best friend in an airport
Exactly.
in those cases. So,
And sometimes it works at at the remote office. Somebody's sitting next to the plug, and you can sneak
mhm.
your extension cord in there next to them and work at it, 2 or 3 tables away.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's just those are just the courteous things that we get to see. So, man, but anyway,
And
the
there's a
life of
there's,
traveling, the life. So,
there's a fish shack here in Plano that I like to go to sometimes, and I plug into the same plug as their neon up on the top of the window. So I just reach up and plug in up there, and have some catfish.
oh man. Yeah, the advantages you got to being out in the office, out in the field. Yeah, but being mobile. Many years ago, Jeff, I heard this, and it's probably been the greatest thing for my business. I love being at home today and having a nice home office, but was a salesman's thing, and he said the greatest move I ever made for my business was I moved my office to my car.
Ah,
You know what I mean? And basically, that's not just a metaphor for being out on the road, but so many salespeople or people like us, we're trying to do everything we can from the home. Sometimes we need to still get out in the world and start shaking hands. So.
oh yeah. When I was running the ad agency, I spent a ton of time in the car, and people run out of business cards or whatever, and the box of business cards, I have it.
Mhm.
It's in the trunk of the car. It's not here in the house because I'm never gonna run out of cards at home.
Yeah.
Because people aren't here in the house needing cards. So I keep my business cards in the car, and then they're always there.
Yeah. I know
Little
I had
things
that
like
little packet of stuff I used to keep on the motorcycle with all that stuff for
yeah.
traveling. So.
Hmm. Yeah, you're a coffee guy, so you like Starbucks and some of those other places.
Well,
What's
I've got that love for Starbucks. It's because I worked for them for 5 years. I mean,
Yeah,
I know everything in the back workings of it. I mean, and when it comes to what's going in my mouth, I'm very picky about knowing how it was prepared. That's just me.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was going to ask you what the best cup of coffee you've ever had was, but instead let me ask you what it is that Starbucks does right that we can learn from.
Starbucks is, they've got a consistent brand worldwide. And it's kind of like that McDonald's model. You can almost go to a McDonald's or a Starbucks anywhere in the world, and it's going to taste almost the same.
Yeah, it's the E-Myth,
Yeah.
right? The E-Myth
So,
concept.
then Starbucks has, I mean, I know that they run filtered waters to make their drinks. They have standard practices for cleaning their machines. They have a high, I've had better coffee beans. They have a high quality in picking their coffee beans. And all of that comes down to taste, which, I mean, you also know, you and I have talked over the fact that, like, I like Papa John's pizza because I know that John had his heart all in making the right ingredients. And to me, it does. It matters in having the right stuff to make the ingredients. And what we can take away from that as the speakers or even me in helping people in business is, if you put the right ingredients together at the right time and it's good quality stuff, you're going to create a good quality product.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Those are great lessons, and again, Michael, I blanked out his last. Is it Gerber for the E-Myth? Teaches
Oh
us
yeah.
the being able to replicate to succeed. But and a big part of that is not being is being the manager, not the implementer or the technician, as he calls it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, the implementer and the manager, two different things, and um, the person who can actually make it all happen sometimes is not the manager. So.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. I've been having some conversations about managing speakers and what speakers are looking for and what that means. What does management mean to a speaker? I've been exploring that because when people show up needing a service, speaker co-op, I'm the kind of guy who, well, let's figure out if it's time to offer that service.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I've seen that in my vision as the next service we offer as management, and now it's starting to happen where people are showing up, just like booking. They showed up, and I said, all right, well, that's what people need. That's what we're going to provide,
Yeah.
and learn how to do it well and set up a powerful system to make it happen. So I want to, on that front, I want to, these chats are to learn about each other, and so people can learn about us as people, not just speakers, but something that you and I have been talking about. You're a booking client, you're a booking member of Speaker Co-op, which means I'm actually on the phone, on the internet, looking for speaking opportunities for you around the country, or actually around the world. Is your passport current?
Is passport current? No, I'm working on that.
All right. Um, and I was thinking on my way home to do this chat that you have a niche that we don't really talk about much, and I want to visit with you about that, because you're a church guy,
Hmm.
and you've been involved in some churches. You've got good friends who are pastors or ministers or whatever the correct title is.
Yeah.
I want you to share with me what it is that draws you to want to speak for church audiences, and tell us how you came to that, and tell us what you like to share with that audience. What Tim Gillette, why that resonates with you.
Great question there, Jeff. It's yeah, I grew up in a Christian home, and I know when you look at me and you hear my rock and roll and motorcycle and long hair, it's not what you typically think. I grew up in a very Protestant background of it's the very conservative Baptist church is where I grew up, and some of the things that I was taught was not necessarily what I was taught being biblical learning, but I was taught being like the rules of the Bible. That's why I'm one of these people who was so much about creating my own rules. When I got to study the life of Jesus, and even study some of the, in your case, what we call the Old Testament as Christians, what the Jewish people follow, is when I started studying it, I realized that the rules that were being put up in these churches that I was going to were, some of them seemed to be man-made rules, and most of them seemed to be man-made rules that I couldn't trace back to an ancient biblical text, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. My desire to get out in the churches is I spent 20 years, kind of rebelling in one way, sort, or fashion against the church. And when I realized that most of the things that are ingrained inside of me are of a biblical root. And just because I have long hair, just because I am a crazy guy, I like rock and roll music, doesn't mean that I still don't have a love for my Christian faith. And
Okay.
I like going into some of the churches, and I've spoken at a few of them that have, that have entrepreneur type programs, or that's a form of outreach for them.
Mm-hmm.
And to go in and speak about business, a lot of churches are using that as a ministry forum to reach out to the business community, to then open a relationship up to where, okay, we've learned something about building the business and building business right. Then that now turns into a relationship that if they ever want to reach out to someone to pray for them, or to have that relationship, to being able to offer some sort of spiritual services. So I get that. I wanted to be one of those speakers who comes into that arena to use the ideas that I teach in business, that, yeah, I look like I'm having fun, but I'm really one of the most serious guys in the world when it comes to business. But I look like I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Well, I think that fun's been lost in our churches today. And I don't know that, you know what I mean? I know you're part of the Jewish community, and as well as a couple of my friends. I don't know if it's that way in the Jewish community, but there's other religions and other sects of the Christian faith, you know what I mean, other different denominations, you would call them, that funness is lost. These
Yeah.
people aren't enjoying life anymore, and I want to go in there and go, guys, you can enjoy this life. Yeah, it's not easy, all right, but if you get serious, take care of the serious stuff first. There's plenty of playtime out there. Let's have some playtime.
Well, Jews and comedy do go together.
Yeah, that and good movies. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody was talking the other day about, there's lots of Jewish jokes. Are there, do Italians tell Italian jokes, and do Polish people tell Polish jokes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, everybody has their humor, but we've become entertainers and comedians because we had to smile in the face of lots and lots of adversity for thousands of years.
Yes, yes. And Christianity.
Yeah, running gag. Yeah, the running gag is every Jewish holiday is they tried to kill us, we won, let's eat.
I like it. It's a great way to celebrate, if you ask me.
Yeah. So you were going to say something, sorry.
That oppression has gotten to be in a lot of religions. I mean, and I'm not. I mean, there's a lot of turmoil going on in our world right now, but Christianity can be. You know what I mean? They are harping on them in some circles. You know what I mean? With stuff going on in our world. All right, the Muslims, people are harping on them. There's divisions of the Muslims that have a great outreach. They have a great thing in their mind, but all we hear is the negative. Just like, I tell people the Christian church is everybody thinks we're Westboro Baptist Church. Okay, we're not. They're just the morons of our society.
That's for sure. Well, and it was actually a West Wing episode where they were one of the guys was teaching a group of college students who were touring the White House, and he said and they actually got locked down for some sort of a terror warning or something, and so he says the terrorists are to the Muslim as blank is to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Doing like an SAT question, and the answer was KKK.
Yeah, yeah.
Because every group has its extremists.
Yes.
And it's the duty of everybody else to stand up and behave in ways that, as much as possible, negate what the extremists are doing.
Yeah. Well,
in my humble opinion.
Yeah. The idea that there are extremists in everything. And years ago, I was in a multi-level marketing, and the one guy in the presentation said, "Well, listen, we've got enough crazies and nuts, so if you were one of them, please stay home." All right? Because I love that concept. Is everybody's got them. You know what I mean? We're in the speaker world, you and I. There are speakers out there who are scam artists, and we know it. That's your and I's job to prove that we are authentic and we're real. So.
Yep, there is that. What's happening lately? I mean, hopefully people will be watching this at different times, but right now it's July in Dallas, and it's only 80-something degrees, which is pretty amazing for July in Dallas. Yeah. But what's coming up in your world that you're excited about, whether it's personal or business?
In my personal life is, my wife and I are getting a lot more extra travel in. In September, my 30-year high school class reunion. I think that's a celebration that I actually got out of high school. I don't know, but I'm honored that they have asked me to come. I'll be the MC for my high school reunion. Get to go back and share, share and enjoy a time with my friends that I graduated high school with, because a lot of them I don't see them on a regular basis. Business-wise, I'm so excited now that doors open up. I know you called me just a couple days ago to ask me to speak in Austin, and then I got an opening then to speak on the way down. So it's like,
oh, nice.
I was able, because of relationships I have, I was able to, doors opened up immediately for me to then go down and a day early and speak at some other event. That it's minor. There's not going to be a lot of people there, but still, it's an opportunity to go and reach an audience that I've never reached before.
Sure, and it's always nice to be in other cities.
Yeah.
Sharing what you have to share.
Yeah, I frequent Los Angeles a lot. Well, right now I'm doing two things at my and this is the September, it's like the 18th to 20th of September. I'm in L.A. Until Saturday morning. Saturday morning I fly home to Pennsylvania to be at my high school reunion, but I'm speaking Friday in Los Angeles, and I just got invited to speak the Friday before that in Los Angeles. So it's like I may be in Los Angeles for 2 weeks, then fly to Pennsylvania, then be back here in Dallas to speak at Robert Parkinson's event. So
You're using the F word.
what?
Fly.
Fly. I know.
You used to go out on your motorcycle when you could,
did.
but I guess coast-to-coast travel makes that a little difficult.
It's kind of hard to speak in Los Angeles on Friday and be in Philadelphia on Saturday on a motorcycle. It's just not possible.
But I know it rips your heart out that you have to use an airplane instead of a bike.
Actually, more and more that airplane is starting to seem nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten to where I travel so much that literally it's been nice to be actually get on planes and be there faster. Yeah, it's the long the long trips of going from here to Phoenix or here to Los Angeles just to speak at one event was getting costly and long term. The key that I'd like to be able to do with the bike is like we did last summer. I went up to Philadelphia and was able to speak in. I spoke in Nashville, Louisville, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio, and then Philadelphia. You know what I mean? When you can make a round trip out of speaking, that's the way to do a motorcycle trip. But hop on the bike, go straight to California. That's not fun.
No. It's been a long time, but I've driven that by car. Both routes. I've driven through El Paso and through Albuquerque and Vegas. So neither one is actually So neither one is that. It's daunting, I guess, is the best way to say it. And people don't realize how big Texas is. It's 24 hours from Dallas to L.A. by car if you go through El Paso.
Yeah.
Half of the trip takes place in Texas.
Texas, yep.
12 hours to El Paso and then 12 hours to L.A.
And that's the thing on the motorcycle that most people don't understand with going through West Texas is you've got to go through a chunk of it. You have to. From Dallas area, it's a nice trip to get to Midland, Texas, but the Midland, Odessa area, hotels are rare and hard to come by because that's the big oil field right now. So you've got to go all the way to either El Paso or Van Horn to get a hotel room for the night. So
wow.
Not like a camper, you just pull over the side of the road, take a nap, and on the bike, you've got to get a hotel, man.
You can just bring a tarp and use the bike as the tent pole and make yourself a little lean-to, right?
Yeah. Now I've done motorcycle trips where I slept in my tent most of the time, and it just that got old. So
right, yeah, we're too old for that.
Yeah. When you're trying to do it and speak, it gets old real fast.
Yeah, my idea of roughing it's a cabin in the woods with plumbing.
Nah.
I don't
need roughing it as Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I don't need electricity. I just need a shower,
Yeah. I've gotten older than you. Roughing it is Holiday Inn for me now.
There you go. Nice. So, what else is? Well, let's. What are you consuming lately, Tim? I mean, movie, TV, book, music. I know you're the rocker guy and the rock and roll guy, but I know that that's not the only music you like. Is there somebody, an artist or creative person you're consuming that you want to tell everybody about?
When it comes to artists that I'm really studying right now, I'm studying. I've got a connection through to Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, and Duff has written a book, but he also does a lot of financial writing for different magazines. He writes for GQ, and I think he was doing something for these Seattle Times. I think that's done now. But reading some of his financial stuff, because he's a great financial writer, but he was also a rock and roller. So I mean that took a lot of edge to it.
Make sure you put a link to his book on the comments when we post it, when this video goes live.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, he's a great person, and he's got a great personality, but he's got a great mindset financially. So where a lot of guys think, oh yeah, heavy metal guy, drug addict. He went through his drug phases, and some of the biggest and most important things to him now is his family and his life. So yeah.
Nice. I want to
Yeah.
mention a musician, a singer that I discovered. It's been probably 2 years now, but she popped up on Facebook one day and had a free song to check out. She's a crooner. She sings like Frank Sinatra type songs and Tony Bennett songs. Her name is Thisbe Voss, Thisbevos, and I went on to buy her first album. I haven't bought her second one yet, but it's out, and she's got her own Facebook page. Just really talented lady that's fun and relaxing to listen to. That's music I like to listen to in the car to kind of sing along, and you can't fall asleep if you're singing along.
Yeah.
But then also somebody posted on Facebook just on Eric Tung, who's somebody we met at the DFW Social Media Rocks conference that we all spoke at a few weeks ago. He posted, he says, "What should I watch next on Netflix?" What would your answer to that question be, Tim?
I first of all, I'm not a subscriber to Netflix, so it's bad. But I started watching with the movies. We recently we have one of those recording devices on the TV, the DVR, or whatever they call it. And we're big Hunger Games fans, so this Hunger Games thing is really big. Both the first and second one are now out, I think, on DVDs and downloads.
Because Comic-Con is going on, there's a sneak trailer for the third movie.
Yep, I just seen that sneak trailer yesterday on YouTube, and I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love the suspense of it, so it's been a great thing to watch.
Yeah, I haven't read the books either. I'm a bigger fan of hers than of the movies, but I enjoyed the movies. I didn't like the second one nearly as much as the first one.
No, the second one kind of got me by surprise because I haven't read the books, so I know people have read the books and they kind of know some of the outcome. But
I knew it was the middle movie, but I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe there's 2 more movies.
They're doing 2 more. They're splitting the last book, just like the Twilight series. They're splitting the last book into 2 movies. So.
And Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I mean, I told him he should watch, and I just blanked out on what I told him. That's funny. We're real here on speakers sitting in chairs chatting on air.
Yeah.
They were talking about House of Cards, and I told him he should check out the original, the British version, because I'm told if you watch that first, you'll get more. It's more enjoyable, and the surprises are better in that one. But you should check out House of Cards. But I know what I did. I told him about the show I talked about on the last episode of this podcast, which is a show called Underbelly out of Australia, all about organized crime. Each season is a different crime issue or place or family and how they commit the crimes and the cops chase them, and it's all based on true stuff. So those are fun. But this week I wanted to actually mention a show that I never watched when it was originally on the air, called Eureka, which I'm really enjoying. It's a good show. I can watch that show while I'm working. I don't watch TV while I'm working during the day, but in the evenings at night when I start pounding away at the computer, I like to have the TV on. But the show that I've just recently discovered that I'm a latecomer to, you have to watch. You can't do anything else, and that's the Robot Chicken stuff with Seth Green's Robot Chicken from Adult Swim.
I've not seen that yet.
It is, they take toys and action figures and do sketches. And it's like one of the recent ones I saw was they did a version of the real world with superheroes. So, Hulk is, Wonder Woman gets mad at Hulk because he's peeing in the sink. And then the other one was, Beavis and Butthead joined the Justice League. I'm sorry, Teen Titans. They joined Teen Titans because they're teenagers.
Okay.
So that, just silly, goofy stuff. In 15-minute episodes, but some of the bits are 10 seconds long, and they just fill 15 minutes with just hilarious, crazy stuff. So.
Well, back in the day, what I used to do with the TV, kind of like you were just talking there, is when I ran my body shops back in the early '90s, I used to have the TV on to the old music videos. That was my TV. Now I've found a station, and every now and then they have a good concert on Palladia or something like that. and we watched a thing on Rush a couple weeks ago, and then they played a Rush concert right after it.
Oh,
Rock
nice.
and roll to the 10th degree. I mean, that's just wow. Rush is just over the wall. But I mean, they've got interesting shows on there just about music and different concerts and all that stuff.
Ooh. I was always a big Rush fan. I wanted Geddy Lee's voice,
Yeah.
but his real name, you know his real name?
No, I do not know his real name.
Gary Lee Weinreb, nice Jewish boy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. You remember when he did the Great White North Christmas song?
I don't remember that.
Okay, but you look it up. Bob and Doug McKenzie, you remember them
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
Second City?
Yeah, I remember
Anyway,
them.
we go back to the days when MTV played music videos and Comedy Central played stand-up comedy.
Yes, yes. In case you forgot, ladies and gentlemen, that's what music television stood for.
Now you have to go to MTV4, I think, to get music videos.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when MTV, and you're sure you do too. I remember when MTV first came out, the first couple videos, the first day. I mean, yeah, I watched that. That was big for me back in the 80s.
You know the first video?
First video, Radio Killed the Video Star.
Exactly. I remember the astronaut. They're planting the music MTV flag on the moon. That was their award. I don't know if it still is. Their award was the astronaut planting the flag.
Yes, it was for the longest time. I don't know if it still is either, but yeah.
That was, we used to actually watch the MTV Music Awards.
Yeah. Back when they were more than a political statement. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Again, we can talk about anything we want here.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you, do you find yourself sucked into political conversations on, like, Facebook?
I kind of really try to back off from them because really, I mean, I know, Jeff, you're a Democrat, and I have a lot of Republican friends as well. I'm neither. Yeah. And I can tell you the bad in both parties. That's my problem.
Well, and I can as well. I'm in the lesser, the lesser of two evils camp more often than not.
Yeah.
But I choose to get sucked into some of those conversations. But when they digress into really, inappropriate behavior, as you wouldn't behave that way if you're sitting across the table from somebody, but somehow the separation of sitting in front of a screen makes it okay.
Yeah.
I had two women screaming at me the other night, and all I was doing was asking them to give me something to back up what they were saying.
Yeah. And they can't, and that's the problem I have with the two political parties, is most of the time the people who are doing that, they have no clue what else is going on in the world. They just believe that their political party's right and yours is wrong. And
exactly.
The problem is people say, this party or that party's been in power too long. The problem is both parties been in power too long, and we need a third party. We need third party America to split it up. Once you get out of power, you're going to realize that you maybe had some good ideas, but sometimes power can go to your head.
Well, and I agree. We need some sort of a middle of the road kind of party, and unfortunately, people who want to be in the middle of the road don't have the passion to start a party.
Yeah. Well, two of the larger parties that are out there, I think, was the one that I don't know what it was, but it was the one that Ross Perot was part of for a long time.
Yeah, it was called the Reform Party. Yeah. And they got one person elected.
Yeah. And I'm a huge libertarian, and I'm actually part of the Libertarian Party very actively. So, but I'm not one of those people who are going to go out there and I'm not going to bash, because I can very easily get stuck in exactly what you were saying, is to get caught up in the conversation, and I'm not going to do it. So. And
what I wind up doing is talking about having civil debate instead of the actual conversation that was started.
Yeah. No. So.
And because people know, there's a segment of people that know where I stand, that people now people try to pick fights with me. It was very funny. We were chatting on somebody's post the other day, last week, and everybody was being civil, and some guy jumps into the thread and says, "Well, what about da-da-da-da-da-da, Klein?" And my reply was, "Well, I don't think so-and-so would appreciate us hijacking his thread to have a conversation that has nothing to do with what's happening here."
Yes.
And then and shame on you for trying to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I definitely didn't want us to get into a political conversation about the issues. I like the idea of us talking about whether how valuable it is to have the conversation.
Yes.
And
That's what I was going to address on that, Jeff. Is just that's exactly what it is, conversation. And you've seen me teach my stuff on getting your blog out there, and I tell everybody you need to go to other people's blogs and have conversations.
Yeah.
People forget that that's a conversation, not go in there and oppose their point, tell them they're wrong, and then start doing undercut shots.
Yeah.
That doesn't help your purpose anymore. All right? But by opening up the discussion on what they put in that blog, and we're not talking politics here, we're talking just anything.
Yeah.
Opening up the discussion now gets people to go, okay, who is this Tim Gillette or who is this Jeff Klein guy? They have got an interesting point to this. And now they come check out your blog.
I tried to start, I started a page on Facebook called Civil Political Discourse.
Yes.
But I didn't get any traction, partially because I wasn't spending a lot of time promoting it. And it wasn't about, all I was trying to do was make a statement about the fact that when you make personal attacks, you've already lost the argument.
Yeah, yeah.
And then America, one of the reasons America is great is civil discourse and compromise.
Yeah.
I mean, our Constitution and Bill of Rights were a compromise. Somebody was asking the other day, why do we have amendments at the same time as the Constitution? Well, it was approved a couple of years later.
Yeah.
But the deal they made when they signed the Constitution, there were people who would only sign the Constitution with the promise that there would be a Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
So we've always compromised to get things done here in America.
Yeah, because and that's exactly what we've been trying to say here is that there's neither party is 100% right, but neither party's 100% wrong either, guys.
That's right.
It takes 2 and 3 different types of people to create. I mean, if we were all the same in this country, we wouldn't be a free country. We'd be a communist one. We don't want that. I want people in this country who've got a different opinion than me. And, I love it when I hear their opinions, whether I agree with them or not. I love it when I hear them because that tells me that they're a thinking person and not necessarily on just some bandwagon.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Well, and there's a great post. I haven't shared the link yet because I just found it last night. There's a great editorial opinion piece in Huffington Post about the 7 things to think about before you decide whether Israel or Hamas is right.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is just like you just said about everything else. Neither one is 100% right, and neither one is 100% wrong.
Yeah.
And until people, when people realize that that the other side has a valid point in there somewhere,
mm-hmm.
Until they realize that, there can't be agreement.
Yes.
Or peace.
That's right. Exactly right.
Anyway, well, I think we've chatted a while. I think
quite a few different subjects there.
Yeah, well, and that's what I want this podcast to be is literally hanging out, learning more about each other, sharing with everybody who's listening or watching that we're well-rounded individuals who happen to be passionate about speaking.
Yeah.
And sharing our messages.
Yeah, I'm hugely passionate about speaking. And, to the point that, even last week I was flying on a plane going to Florida, and, a girl sat in a seat next to me, and she was a speaker. She was a speaker who was just getting started in a speaking career. She was doing rather well. She gets a rather large fee for speaking to kids about drugs. And I'm surprised that we were able to talk. And that's not the first time that's happened on a plane where the person sitting next to me was a speaker. So.
Wow. Well, I just put your website up under my name so people can see how to get in touch with you at timgillette.com. I know you have a couple other websites, but that one will get them there, right?
Yep. timgillette.com is the main page to get to my stuff. And, please, if you feel free, go by there. check it out. I leave a video on there for people so they actually can see who I am. And if you notice the background behind me, it's sitting right in his chair is where I made the video. So I like to welcome you with a video and see who I am. So.
And I like to pretend I've read all these books.
Yeah, yeah. I read them back there, way back there, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and there's some client books back here, and some audio, and Wishbone the dog, and some stuff that I've been through. Okay, Tim. Thank you for being on Speaker Sitting in Chairs Chatting on Air.
Hey, it's been fun, Jeff. Thank you.
And for those watching and listening, check in. We will be putting out a new episode every week. I'm Jeff Klein, signing off.